Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 12, Episode 17, Back on the Hump. Picking up where we left off last week, nobody having ceviche, Ramona stalking off to her room, mumbling something about vaginas. Dorinda comes back out to the patio area and she's like, well, I finally got Sonia put down for the night. Luanne takes a sip of what Sonia was drinking and makes this horrible face. Yeah, what did you expect? It's Coca-Cola with rosé in it. So now Dorinda, or Mama D, as Luanne is inexplicably calling her for, I think, the first time ever. Okay, Mama D. She goes now to look for Ramona, who is down at the beach now. I don't know how that happened because the last we saw she was in her room, but she goes down to have a little talk with her. And it goes really well. Ramona's like, what was happening? I heard screaming. Dorinda goes, it's Sonia. I hate when she comes to dinner and she's a mess. And Ramona goes, well, you've been a mess before too. Dorinda's like, no, I haven't. You're a mess. You're the one that's been a mess like that, and I've helped you through it. You've been a complete mess. Okay, this little exchange is going to be important later. So just keep in mind that when Dorinda was talking about how drunk Sonia was, Ramona's reply was that, yeah, well, you've been like that too. So when Dorinda says, yeah, you've been a mess like that too, Ramona goes, please stop screaming. Okay. There was no screaming coming out of Dorinda, but this is apparently Ramona's new thing. I'm triggered by loud voices because of my childhood. And I don't know, it must have worked in the past. Maybe everyone was like, oh yeah, okay. And cut her some slack or gave her a pass or calmed down and didn't fight with her anymore because she's using it all the time, even when clearly there was no screaming. Dorinda wasn't pleased with her. Dorinda was pointing out that she's been a mess in the past and she's been there for her, but she was not screaming it. But that's Ramona's cue to get up and walk away again, telling Dorinda to have some water because I can't be around you girls like this. Drink some water. And Dorinda's like, yeah, and you get your shit together. Ramona goes, you're the one with the drinking problem. You and Sonia. So Dorinda's like, I came down here to talk to you like a friend who loves you. And this is how you turn on me. Ramona's like, it's so sad. So Dorinda comes back to where Luanne and Leah are, and Luanne said, where is she? So Dorinda tells her and Leah that Ramona told her she should go to AA. I didn't hear her say that exactly, but whatever, maybe it was implied. And then she looks at Luanne and she goes, you've known me for 20 years. Do I appear drunk? Really? Oh my God, Luanne looks so nervous. She goes, well, not right now. Good one. So now Luanne goes to talk to Ramona. Meanwhile, Dorinda is now crying to Leah. Ramona hurt me. She just hurt my feelings. And Leah's like, oh, why do you even give a f? Ignore her. So Luanne, like I said, she's now down at the beach talking to Ramona. And Ramona goes, I'm sorry, Dorinda does drink too much. And so does Sonia. And Leah, too. I mean, she's not wrong, but you're talking to Luanne. And you're not going to include her on that list? Luanne really doesn't get anywhere with Ramona. And then Ramona says she's going to bed. Luanne seemed surprised like that. And so now I'm wondering what time it is. Because remember in the Berkshires, it was like 8:30. It's probably 7:30. I don't think anybody ate dinner. The poor man who was out there making the ceviche for them, I don't think anybody ate anything. And Sonia's been put to bed. And now Ramona is going to bed. So, and there's only 5 of them on this trip. I think Elise should be there. I've become quite fond of her in a way that I never could with Barbara, although my feelings have changed about Barbara because I just think Barbara isn't housewife material. Elise, I think, could be housewife material, and a bit of a voice of reason. I like her. In any case, yeah, so it's just the five of them. So now it's just Dorinda, Luanne, and Leah. And so Luanne, after Ramona went to bed, Luanne now comes back to the patio where Leah and Dorinda are. And Leah's like, what happened? What'd she say? And Luanne's like, well, and Dorinda goes, did you talk to Ramona about me? Luanne, that is to say, she's judging you on your drinking and you on your pills, Leah. I thought Leah wasn't on pills. Anyway, Dorinda, judging me on my drinking? You went to jail for your drinking. She doesn't judge you? Okay, that was a little harsh. And also, coming at her for the exact same thing, in almost the exact same way you came at her before, which created season-long dissension between you two. You're gonna do that again? Luanne, to her credit, kind of lets that roll off. And she just said, no. She's not judging me. So Dorinda goes on. You defaulted on your probation and you almost went to jail again. What is she doing? You asked her what Ramona said and she told you, reluctantly I might add. And now you are pretty viciously attacking Luanne. Luanne said nothing about your drinking, by the way. In Luanne's confessional, she said, it was 15 minutes ago that she just said, you don't shame your friends. What happened to that? And then we see a little flashback, and it's true. It was after Dorinda talked to Ramona that she's like, I would never do that to you. What Ramona's doing to me, I would never do that to you. First of all, you already have. And secondly, you just did it again. I mean, come on, Dorinda. Side note, is Dorinda vaping on camera? I'll show you guys, but in the one scene, she's holding her fist up to her mouth. And in the next scene, when she's talking, she looks like Puff the Magic Dragon. So I'm going to guess yes on that. Dorinda is vicious, though. She really is. And probably drunk, but she keeps attacking Luanne, so not cool. All right, now it's the next morning. She's fresh as a daisy, bright and early, goes into Leah's room where Leah's like still in bed, although she is rolling her face with one of those like jade rollers. I have one of those, you guys, side note, that I don't use because I don't know if it works or not. I think I got one in a FabFitFun box and tried it for a little while, but I don't know. I'm curious, do any of you guys do that rolling? And if you do, have you noticed an improvement? Honestly, if I don't see something right away, I'm skeptical. But probably I just haven't done it long enough. Anyway, Leah asks Dorinda, do you remember the way you spoke to Luanne last night? And she's like, yeah, I wasn't drunk. I remember everything from last night. And now she's trying to spin it as Luanne was not just reporting what Ramona said, but Luanne was endorsing it. No, she wasn't. She was just reporting it. Leah said, well, she was just telling you what Ramona said. And then Dorinda goes, and this is why it's important to remember what was said before. Dorinda goes, yeah, but then she said, God knows in the past you've gotten drunk like that. Leah goes, no, she didn't. Dorinda, yes. Honestly, she did say that. Leah was there too, Dorinda. So my theory is in her brain, she jumbled up what Ramona said to her and is now attributing it to Luanne unfairly. She tells Leah, actually, it's so funny because I wasn't drunk at all because all I had was a few spritzers. Okay. Might have been a few too many. I also should point out that Leah was pretty darn sober the night before. Okay, now in Ramona and Sonia's room, we've made a great discovery. Eureka! We have found out what was causing Sonia to act so loopy the night before. It was Sonia's water pill. Really? Okay. She looked it up online, and her water pill, when mixed with alcohol, causes drunken sailor syndrome. She's like, yeah, my water pill gave me the drunken sailor walk. I was wondering what was going on. So anyway, Ramona tells Sonia, remember when I told you not to say anything to Leah? And she goes, oh, I did. Oops. And she goes, yeah. And I'm going to talk to, because I don't hate her, so I'm going to talk to Leah at some point today. Probably because she realizes that Leah really didn't do anything wrong. Or let me just say this. Leah didn't do anything that the other women didn't also participate in. It isn't fair to just single out one of them. Okay, now Leah finds Luanne in the workout room, and those two are working out together. Luanne does say that she wants to talk to Dorinda. It really wasn't fair the way she treated me. And Leah, of course, agrees because Leah knows it wasn't Luanne who said what Dorinda thinks she said. And then they talk about how they're going to go ride camels later. Oh, but you guys, we get a delicious flashback to when the Housewives were in Marrakesh. God, this had to be a long time ago because Alex McCord is there. So I don't know how many seasons ago it was, but if you recall, Luanne's camel started bucking her. Wildly bucking her. It was funny. All right, Luanne meets up with Ramona in the kitchen. The chef is preparing omelets. Luanne tells Ramona what Dorinda said to her the night before. And you know, she made me feel ashamed. Girlfriends don't do that. While Luanne is talking, Ramona is on her phone Googling anger management issues. And then she reads off the definition. It was hilarious. It was just so basic that Luanne's like, well, yeah, of course. Now Leah walks in. Luanne leaves to go take a shower and change her clothes. And Ramona approaches Leah with that weird baby doll thing that she does when she's like apologizing, or it's so strange. She gets like shruggy shoulders and, Leah, so I was wondering if you wanted to have a talk with me whenever it's convenient for you. And Leah's like, yeah, sure. Let's do it. Okay, do you want to go outside with me? What are you doing, Ramona? Are you trying to seduce her? Very strange. Anyway, they go outside, and basically Ramona is telling her that she holds Leah to a higher standard because she sees potential in her. Leah, by the way, still can't get an answer as to what she did wrong to make her so angry in the first place. Leah's like, what did I do to make you angry enough to talk about my mental health? Ramona's not going to answer that. And I think it's because she has no answer. And she knows she screwed up by bringing up, she has bipolar, and then making the assumption that she's on medication for it and shouldn't mix medication with pills. And, those were all conclusions that you and your buddies jumped to when you were all talking about Leah behind her back. She says, I apologize, and I want to just move forward with you. And Leah accepts it. I don't know that I would, but Leah accepts it and they hug. Side note, at one point Ramona did say, it's my fault. I made a molehill out of a mountain. That is so on brand for Ramona. She is always using some kind of an analogy or phrase and always getting it just a little wrong. Okay, now all of them are sitting together at the table outside having their breakfast, and they agree to a reset. They're starting the whole vacation over that morning, and everyone's, yes, great, they're on board. I guess that means Luanne really isn't going to get to talk to Dorinda. Dorinda wants to forget the night before, so maybe that's just as well. All right, heading over to the camel ride. They're all in the van together, and Dorinda talks about where they're going for dinner that evening. Yeah, it's going to be a nice restaurant. We should all dress up, dress fancy. And in her confessional, we also find out that it's going to be a surprise celebration for Sonia's birthday. In my opinion, it's a lot less about her wanting to celebrate Sonia than she can't stand that Ramona wouldn't share her birthday with Sonia, so now she just wants to do something forcing Ramona to attend. I don't know. She wants to make a big deal out of Sonia's. Okay, so I'm not sure any of these women really want to go on a camel ride. Luanne is having nightmarish flashbacks. We get to see that again. Leah rode a camel before when she was in Israel. She's not keen to do it again. Ramona just wants to walk next to the camels. She doesn't even want to attempt it again. And Dorinda's like, huh, I don't even know why I suggested this. I agree. I don't know why they're doing it. It seems like anybody who has ever gone on a camel ride doesn't want to do it again. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement. Anyway, Dorinda is the first to get on. The guy's training her how to do it because they get the camel to kneel down, and then you get into the saddle, and then you have to lean back as the camel's getting up to, kind of counterbalance. Leah said, Dorinda, you're a natural. And Luann goes, and this is your first time on a camel, isn't it? Dorinda says, yeah, it's my first time, but I've ridden a couple of bears. I know how to ride a camel. What? Assuming she means John pedestrian. Ew. I hate when I make myself sick and not like actual bears. These are two very different animals, Dorinda. Because one of them, worst case scenario, goes rogue and kind of bucks you off. And the other one could actually maul you to death. We did not see pictures of Dorinda riding a bear. So she was making just a dumb joke. But as I think about it now, God, I wish it was a real bear. That I would like to have seen. Okay, so like I said, Ramona never did get on a camel. She walked alongside and took pictures. Sonia was on the last one, and it started bucking her around a little bit, and she immediately demanded to get off. And then Leah was like, yeah, I'm done, and she just jumped off of hers without having it kneel down first. So they were out, they went swimming, and all that was left was Dorinda and Luann, who had a much better experience the second time. All right, so after that, we head to their cabana on the beach where a beautiful table is set up for their lunch. The cabana was kind of cool. It looked like a giant bird cage. This is actually when Luann pulls Dorinda aside to have a little talk with her. As you might have imagined, it goes very, very badly because Dorinda is doubling down on the narrative in her head that Luann was actually the one to tell her, you've been a really bad drunk in the past. Okay, I would like to point out that even if she had said that, it would have been true. But also, it's insane what Dorinda is getting away with. It really is, to me. This conversation ends with both of them just agreeing not to talk about each other's drinking. Luann didn't talk about your drinking, but okay, she's willing to go along with it. And Dorinda gets in her last little, I support you always. Yeah, okay. Except when you don't. It doesn't matter. Dorinda's done with the conversation. In her mind, she doesn't have to apologize if they're both at fault. And she has made Luann also at fault. Actually, it's genius. Because then facts don't matter. We just play by the rules in Dorinda's head. And I think Luann is at a point where she just wants to make peace too. And have a good time while they're in Cancun. Next, Luann and Ramona are walking along the beach toward these hot studs playing beach volleyball. Let me just say, it looks like a mixture of guys, but most of them seem to be their age, which is fine. Great to have age-appropriate men, but it's like, I don't know, low-hanging fruit for these women. So Luann somehow gets herself to be invited to play. Oh, you need some women on your team. And the one man is like, oh, come on and join us. So she does, because as she tells us, she's pretty good at volleyball. And because I am here for you guys, I'm going to have to show you just how good she is. She keeps hitting the ball into the net. One time it just went into the net and bounced back right into her face. But the funny thing is, she leaves there thinking she was great. Because after a couple of fumbles like that, she hit the net and it dropped onto the other side. So, yay, she made a couple points that way and gets to walk away a hero. It was crazy. Now it's the evening and the ladies have all gotten ready and they're heading over to the restaurant. They announce when they get there that it's for you, Sonia. And she's like, why is it for me? And Then they tell her, oh, this is all for your birthday. And so she's pretty happy, and she's up and dancing. One of the waiters is dancing with a bottle of tequila on his head while he's carrying a tray of shots. Then Luann gets up to dance with this man who, he's about half her height. That's all I'm going to say about that. Dorinda gives Sonia a toast saying, 2020 is your year, Sonia. Oh, sweetie. 2020 is not anybody's year. Although quarantining at a spa did Sonia a lot of good, so maybe 2020 was her year. Oh my God, now the waiter has 4 margaritas stacked one on top of the other on his head as he walks out to the table to serve them. Oh my gosh, so impressive. The only one not having margaritas is Sonia, who is double fisting shots of tequila. I think there was like a Bloody Mary shot and tequila shots. I think she had one in each hand. Yeah, I was pretty worried about that. It doesn't seem to have gone anywhere though. All right, now they're talking about guys. Luann has spotted a couple guys at the bar, and the conversation turns to dating. And Dorinda goes, it shouldn't be that complicated. You smell it, you like it, you go for it. And Luann goes, like a dog. And Ramona said, that's why none of them ever last longer than 3 weeks. And Leah's like, see, I knew we were related, Ramona. I'm the same way. We can't find our equals because we're too different and unique. And Ramona goes, we all have emotional weaknesses. When I was getting divorced, I couldn't wake up in the morning. I was in a deep depression. Leah's like, how did you forgive him? Leah's getting a little drunk at this point. And Ramona said, nothing is worse than to harbor ill will towards someone. Hate is terrible. And Leah's like, yes, and you loved your daughter more than you hated him, so you did it for your daughter because you realized it would be the best thing for her. And Ramona's agreeing. So those two shake on it, and they're getting along famously for now. Now Luann and Dorinda get up to go to the bathroom and put on their costumes. The big surprise for Sonia. First we have Luann come out as some kind of I don't know, can you guys figure this out? She's like a mariachi glowing fairy. I can't quite understand what she's wearing. She's got a microphone, she's talking to the crowd, and then she starts singing happy birthday to Sonia. But if you guys are thinking that's the weirdest thing you're gonna see tonight, oh no. Now Dorinda comes out. Apparently she has packed an extra suitcase for those big rubber boobs because she's wearing them now. She also has a sparkly gold turban on, and she's carrying a cake that has like roadside flares in it. Side note, she's also sporting a nip slip that Sonia then later tries to fix for her right before she makes Sonia motorboat her. Guys, help me out with the costumes here. I don't quite understand them, either of them, or what they mean or how they go together. Are they supposed to be Mexican? Is that it? I mean, what's the common thread? I'm lost. Well, Leah just hit the wall. Yeah, she has gone from tipsy to drunk like that. Don't know how that works, but she's talking about her vagina again. I don't know what she's doing. She mentioned something about a vagina. Ramona's like, don't talk about body parts around me. This is the thing. If you want to get along with me, please don't mention body parts. And Leah goes, Ramona, if you want to get along with me, you have to mention my very perfect pussy in the most overt way. Well, Ramona didn't think that was funny. She gets up and walks away, and Luann's like, can we call it a vajayjay at least? Ramona comes back from the bathroom, comes around behind Leah, gives her a little kiss on the cheek, and said, I love you, and we can talk about this tomorrow. What? Talk about what? How you treat her like a daughter instead of a friend? Is that what you want to talk to her about? I'm sorry. It's unacceptable. You might not like the way Leah is talking, or you might think she's too crass for you, or whatever. I mean, I don't love it, and I don't think it's like super funny, but I'm not going to tell her to speak differently around me when I'm not going to tell my other friends to do the same. That's unacceptable. She's a grown woman. You need to treat her that way. In her confessional, Ramona said, Leah looks up to me like a mentor, and I think she's testing her boundaries. So, of course, I gave her a kiss and told her I love her. I'm completely disarming her. Okay, I love that you went to a therapy session and you learned all that. But again, she's not your child. If it wasn't just Leah, I would be less bothered by this. If Ramona was the one that always complained that everybody was being too raunchy around her or something, that's different. But you're singling Leah out. Okay, well, Leah's not actually helping my defense of her right now. She's poking the bear, as Dorinda suggested. What is it with Dorinda and bears today, huh? Anyway, when Ramona came back to the table, she just started eating her dinner, and Luanne goes, oh, do you like that? It's spicy. I like it spicy. Leah, I like spicy dick. Come on, man. It doesn't even make sense. You did not have to say that. Luanne laughs at it, though. She just can't help herself. Which is the way Ramona and everybody should have taken it. You know, come on, you're on vacation. It's goofy. It's dumb, but it's silly. And you are all grown women. You're at a restaurant with your girlfriends. Let it go. Well, we're all going to have to let it go because that is where this episode ended. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so now. And don't forget to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. And I will be back next week with the next recap of The Real Housewives of New York City. Wash your hands, wear a mask. I love you guys and I want you to stay safe. I'll see you next week. Bye.